Well, good morning, and welcome to All People's Church, Unitarian Universalist. My name is Mary Kerwin, and I am here to help lead worship with our guest celebrant, Lori King Nelson. Our Sunday service is a shared time of worship for all present, as we gather for music, spoken words, a time of reflection and inspiration as a religious community. Let us come together in a spirit of compassion and respect for ourselves and others attending this service. We especially welcome those who are visiting today. If you haven't done so yet, please sign in at the visitors table, which is located by the front door, where you can be placed on our mailing list to receive our weekly emails and the monthly newsletter. Before we continue on to worship, there are a couple of announcements. Next Saturday night, March 25th, from 4 to 8 p.m., there will be an all-ages family night here at the church with game playing and some other activities that are planned. Also, next weekend on Sunday, everybody can kick back and enjoy spring break. The RE fundraiser will take place on Sunday after worship. And this month, it's going to be the fourth Sunday instead of the third Sunday due to spring break. So that will be a luncheon for everyone to stay after the service. And today, there's an opportunity to collaborate with two of the other local churches. The Tarrant County UU Justice Ministry will be meeting over at Westside UU for a letter writing party. There are flyers in the foyer for you to get more information about that. That's at 1 o'clock today at Westside. And the other opportunity is that Pathways UU Church, which is located in Hearst, is looking for help to support the John T. White Elementary School, their after-school program. And there's also a clipboard in the foyer where you can sign up and get more information about that program. And that message is from our DRE, Sarah Beryl Harrop, who's in the back there. All right, if you will now please settle comfortably for our musical prelude.
Thank you. If that doesn't put you in a worshipful frame of mind, I don't know what will. Will you be with me as we call ourselves to worship with the writing of Sharon Wiley? We are here to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. We are all afflicted and we are all comfortable. May our time together this morning be a comfort and a confrontation. May we here find peace in times of tumult. May we here invite tumult into lives of peace. May we here find calm in times of restlessness. May we here allow restlessness to evolve into action. Let this be the place you consider what you've never considered. Let this be the place you imagine for yourself something new and unthinkable. May this hour bring dreams of new ways of being in the world. Come, let us worship together.
We now invite you to stand in body or spirit for the lighting of our chalice, our opening hymn, and our spoken affirmation. For the gift of this day and for our community of spiritual nurture and compassion, we give thanks. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith. May our many sparks meet and merge in communion of heart and soul. And please now join in singing our opening hymn, number 123, Spirit of Life. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus do we covenant with one another. Please be seated. During the month of March, we renew our volunteer and financial commitments as part of our annual pledge drive. And we make time during worship to hear from some of our members about the benefits and responsibilities of membership. We welcome our church administrator, Carl Thibodeau, to come forward and shine his light on stewardship.
Good morning. I've always accepted that a big part of my job here is doing unfun stuff so that you can do the fun stuff. Since I'm a paid employee and you're all volunteers. Also, it's just my nature to want to take the yuck and difficult first and save the oh boy and less stressful for afterwards. Unfortunately, as a number of you know, this congregation does not currently have the numbers, either physically or financially, for you to be able to do only the fun stuff. This congregation, this building, your staff, all of us, not just me, need help with the unfun stuff. It's very easy to look around and unilaterally pick something that you think needs to be done and don't mind doing it. But guess what? It's time to tackle some unfun stuff, together and or individually. Maybe every time you think about doing one of your favorite things around here, also try to find some god-awful thing that no one ever seems to want to touch. And doing that too. Who knows? You might actually gain an even greater sense of accomplishment and satisfaction by doing the difficult thing. If my official job description is simply assessing, prioritizing, and taking care of whatever comes up that affects the day-to-day running of the church, I'm actually pretty darn okay with it. Thank you for putting your trust in me. I value and respect it greatly. I love my job here, and I don't mind doing the things that need to be done. I'm not hired to be a janitor or a plumber or a handyman, but sometimes taking out the trash or plunging a clog or mopping or sweeping something is the priority, and we just have to do it. Always remember, this is a public place, and more goes on here than just Sunday service. That's a good thing. But some members are currently stretched too thin with their volunteer commitments. That's why every single one of you has to help out. If you see something that needs to be done and your thought begins, "Whew, boy, that's not good. Somebody really ought to stop right there." You just became that somebody. One thing is for sure, once you take care of it, the problem won't bother you anymore. And then you'll be able to move on to the next thing. Plus, it will be one little thing to quietly, or heck, even loudly if you must, feel good about. Because you see, behind the scene here, there's no elves, there's no magic wands, okay, maybe a few, but the important thing to realize is that the elves are the members sitting next to you, and they need your help. The magic wands, your own two hands. That's how you help the elves. We need your help because it's important. This is Texas, and while there may be plenty of towns with a church on every corner, there's not an all people's UU on every corner. Just a quick story. Emily Reyes from the Fort Worth Sudbury School told me they are currently giving tours to prospective student families. Recently, a family pulled into the parking lot, sat facing our front door, read the banner, and turned around and left. So yes, sadly, not everyone shares your values, our values, because I share them too. But we can keep working on that, right? But you know who does share your values? The people that pay you every month for the right to share this space with you. Her story ended with the words, "Yay, banner." To which I replied, "Yay, Sudbury School." You're our ally. So yay, banner, yay, Sudbury School, yay, All People's Church. You need to exist. For the record, I'm sure the banner acts more as a beacon than a warning signal, and everyone is always welcome and encouraged to come in and find out what people who believe the things this congregation believes are really like. Remember these things. You know what they all mean. Service, stewardship, volunteer and financial support, taking ownership, and feeling satisfaction and accomplishment for doing so. Think about welcoming, accommodating, informing in a positive, non-judgmental way. Every effort on your part helps to keep this wonderful beacon of open-mindedness alive and well. One aspect of church is that they are here to serve the community. There's a chance that this church might not be serving you as well as it could. This is a time of transition, and it might be a good time to think a little more about serving the church right now. Because the crazy thing is that when you serve the church more, you might find that it's serving you more as well. Because I'm sure you know that serving others is serving ourselves. That works for individuals, the church as a whole, the wider community in which we live. Feel free to carry that service out any distance that you care to or able to. Now is the time to build for later so this church can serve you better and serve others better as well. You are the somebodies who will one day look back and say, we kept the beacon of this important faith alive.
Can we have the children come forward? And any adults that would like to join them? Hey, good morning. Oh, what do you have? Slime. Everyone needs slime. Oh, okay. So it almost looks like it's made of moon and stardust. Yeah. Oh, you have fun things to put inside of it. That's very... You already did? What's in there? Oh, okay. So I bet that feels really interesting while you're squishing it. Okay. So today I am talking about how we see ourselves and how we see others out in the community or in the world. And so one thing I wanted to ask you about this morning was, what are you passionate about? Passionate about writing, drawing, and making animes and videos? Animations and videos.
Not specifically anime, it's mostly cartoony.
Cartoony, okay. What's the difference between animes and cartoony animation?
Animes are more it's a different type of style.
Oh.
More simplistic style than animes. Animes focus a lot on detail.
Okay, so it's like a huge difference between watching Tom and Jerry and watching Sailor Moon?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
like, anime is kind of the in-between between cartoon and realism.
Oh, okay. Right now, I'm watching 2 seasons of Bee and Puppy Cat. Do you know that one?
Oh, yeah. We got to episode 4.
Oh,
We're trying to...
yeah, finish it, because at the end, I was just like, I'm not sure what happened. It had an ending that I did not understand, but it still ended.
It ended, that's okay. Yeah, I'm passionate about theater, writing, and almost everything Alex said, except also gaming and theater.
Gaming, did you say?
And I'm into videos and entertainment.
Oh, okay. Gaming also, and theater writing.
Not just writing for theater, just like
Oh, participating in theater. Yeah.
in general.
Okay. So, with the things that you're passionate about, if you could, what is one thing that you could change about one of those things to make it better for other people?
Make shading in art, in like hand art, easier.
It's hard?
Yes, it's very hard, especially when you don't have the options for colors.
Oh, okay.
Colors can make the entire decision of whether it's cartoon or anime.
Okay.
Animes use more like lighter shading which fade, and then cartoons use cell shading.
You need a lot of practice and knowledge to do those things, don't you? Y'all have been working on them for a long time.
Videos on YouTube, and then you're done.
Now, that's my answer to everything. Research a few videos on YouTube. So, one of my last questions, it's about the same as what I just asked you, but if there was something that you could change about our country or the world, if you were the president, yeah, there's a lot of things for sure, but pick one. Economy.
Fix the economy, for heck's sake. Being a more inclusive state, not trying to bring other people down.
Thank you. Being a more inclusive state, not trying to bring other people down.
Please, don't keep on tearing other people down because they aren't a white, straight, cis man.
Exactly. So how do you go about doing that? How do you get people to see that that is important? Yeah.
Misinformation.
Stop misinformation for sure. But it's a big job ahead of us, right? And I don't think any of us really have a concrete answer for it.
6 generational problems, that generational information.
I think we have to do it a person at a time sometimes.
Experiences that are good, and make sure that experiences with those people aren't bad.
Yeah.
Make sure that the experiences that they have with the person are good, because that might change their mind.
See, that is very much what I think too. I think it's important to have people have interaction with people who are not like them, because once you learn to know somebody, it's really so much harder to not like them. Yeah. All right.
As opposed to, hey, look at that weirdo.
Yeah, exactly. Because when the weirdo's in your family, sometimes I'm the weirdo. Yeah. So when you know them, you start to love them. All right, think about that this week, okay? Think about how you can change someone's mind about something with love and compassion. All right? Y'all have a great week.
Yeah, violence usually isn't the answer.
It has never worked for me.
Murder or something.
Oh.
We'll say goodbye to our children without singing them out this morning. Bye, children. We know that our financial contributions to this congregation come from sacrifice and hard work. We are so grateful for this and commit together to ensure the funds that we gather collectively do a greater good for ourselves and our world than they could have done alone. This includes our Share the Plate beneficiary today, which is the Center for Transforming Lives here in Fort Worth. May there be an offering to sustain and grow the life and the mission of this congregation. May we give in love and in hope. Will the ushers please come forward? And will the choir please come forward now as well?
have a reading. It says, "Let us hold lovingly in our thoughts all the people of the earth, those who are consumed by mutual hatred and bitterness, those who make bloody war upon their neighbors, those who oppress their brothers and sisters with any form of tyranny, and all who suffer in subjection, cruelty, and injustice. Let us recognize our solidarity with all the outcast, with the downtrodden, the abused, the deprived, and our common humanity with all who bear the responsibilities of leadership and power. Let us remember humanity's ancient and universal dream of peace, that we live together in harmony. No one exploiting the weak, no one hating the strong, each of us working out our own destiny, self-respecting and unafraid. May we seek to be worthy of freedom, free from institutional wrong, free from individual oppression and contempt, pure of heart and hand, despising none, defrauding none, giving to all people in all encounters of life the honor due to those who, like us, are children of the earth's great love."
Rhythms
My sister, who is always my sidekick here, actually brought her daughter this morning, and I told Tammy, you will not be disappointed. And was I right? Yeah. Amazing. Our reading this morning was written by Joy Layden. I take you everywhere, which is why everywhere you go, I'm there. Keeping you hydrated, stroking your hair, laughing when you chase your tail, gathering you to my invisible breasts, more tenderly than any mother. You're right, you never asked for any of this. I'm the reason your valleys are being lifted up, the source of your life laid bare. Mine is the voice that decrees, that begs your anguish to end. When you suffer, I suffer. Comfort me by being comforted.
We pause to honor and to give time and attention to those things most important to us. We gather here for healing and for peace in our hearts and in the world, and honor our time together with the shared stories and the news from the congregation. Each week there's a journal outside the entrance to our sanctuary where you can write a message of memory or hope. Also, at any time during our service, you are welcome to come forward and light a candle in our meditation center here at the side of the chancel. Today, from our Book of Memory and Hope, we have one very general message from someone, I'm not sure who, but that we are lifting up those experiencing difficult life changes. Keep them safe and loved. Let us now open our minds and hearts to the place of quiet, to the silent prayer for the healing of pain and the soft, gentle coming of love. Please now settle comfortably and pause for a few moments of quiet meditation, and then Misha will lift our hearts with music.
Thank you. So, I ran across a couple of articles as I was researching the concept of windows and mirrors this week. Keith Pinkney and John, I'm not going to pronounce his name because I'm just going to slaughter it, have a website titled Windows and Mirrors, the Whole Bible in 1 Year. On it, the authors claim, the Bible is more like a window than it is a mirror. We come to look through it and see God. We don't come to it primarily to look at it and see ourselves, picking apart our faults and flaws. Join us as we recap a section of the Bible every day to help you understand the whole Bible in 1 year. Well, reader MJS 1236 left a 2-star review that says, "Do not recommend, based on hearsay, not scholarly." Me too, my unnamed friend. Me too. I get the feeling that Keith and John, however ambitious they are, don't quite understand the concept of mirrors and windows. And I have no idea what they or MJS 1236 believe. But I'm pretty sure those beliefs and teachings come from a lifetime of conditioning. These conditioned beliefs and responses can be so difficult to identify in ourselves that it requires a nearly Herculean intentionality to recognize and change. Because it's so much easier to hold in front of us ideas that make us comfortable and require no self-examination. I may have shared with some of you a social experiment that I began in 2015 in response to this concept of conditioning. I stopped acknowledging sneezes. You know, this particular social contract we have with one another, you sneeze, and I'm required to respond with bless you or gesundheit. Or I sneeze, and I'm required to acknowledge your acknowledgement. I have not responded to sneezing in 8 years. And one would think, after that amount of time, I would be free of that reflexive urge to do so. But it's still there. After 8 years, I still struggle with it. I look in the mirror and I wonder how I can grow beyond what I see there when there's still so much inside that needs changing in me. Emily Stile created the windows and mirrors concept as a framework for building an inclusive curriculum. She proposed that students need 2 types of representation in curriculum. Stories in which they learn about themselves, mirrors, and stories in which they learn about others, windows. Rudine Sims Bishop took it a step further by adding sliding glass doors to explain how we enter the world, learning and experiencing it. As I explored this concept, I was struck by how much of what I learned growing up was based on mirrors that only reflected my experience and identity as a white female. My friend Bob Williams said his experience was similar, until a major event turned his world upside down. Now, some years back, Bob was moving through his life as a corporate executive of a Fortune 500 company. Successful, wealthy, content with his life, and just as sure as could be that in just a few years, he would be retiring in style, ready for a life of leisure, golfing, traveling, visiting with friends. Now, his life wasn't worry-free by any means. His mind was always working on what he needed to do tomorrow, next week, next month. There was a list on his desk that was longer than humanly possible to complete. And Bob checked off items more slowly than he added new ones. I know some of y'all feel that. Until, that is, the day he had a massive and debilitating stroke. The stroke kept him from his corporate bubble for an extended period of time as he slowly healed in a rehab facility. While there, Bob met a man who ran an animal rescue organization. This man spoke with such dedication and passion that Bob couldn't help but feel curious enough to go online that evening and learn more about this man and his mission. When the man was released, he stopped by Bob's room and asked him to pray for the animals at the sanctuary and for all the ones who still needed rescuing. Though he was uncomfortable with praying, Bob agreed and wished him luck. Bob's stroke and subsequent chance meeting with this man was life-changing. What is it Jürgen Moltmann says about watching and praying? Watching discerns the danger, and praying brings help from God. That may well be true, but then what comes first? The watching and then the praying, or the praying and then the waking up? Personally, I have found that praying for someone else benefits me more than it benefits the person I'm praying for, because it has opened my eyes to a need that I did not really know existed. Bob's prayers for another helped his own imprisonment in a life he had desperately tried to believe was important. A life that he had considered his identity, the essence of who he was. Slowly, Bob began to awaken to the possibility that he could do something today to make the world a better place. He had moved away from the mirror and opened a window. When Bob returned to work later that year, he reached out to several of his colleagues, asking what they thought about animal and human trafficking rescue organizations. He shared articles, mission statements from various organizations, and spoke of the desperate need for healing for the victims. Bob began to feel that the more he shared, the further to the outside he was being pushed among his coworkers. They could see he had changed, but they had not themselves been awakened from their apathy. That summer, Bob abruptly retired and immediately sank all of his savings and retirement into a large working ranch. He told his friends, "I'm not in crisis, not anymore. I'm fully awake for the first time in my life." As he spoke to them of his plan to create a safe house for young men who had been rescued from the sex trafficking industry, one that would be unique in being the only safe house in the U.S. open to transgender men, he saw that this statement was being met with skepticism, pity, and disgust. But as his mission expanded before him, he gained a deeper understanding of the hand humans have in the ills of the world. He knew he would need to carry this idea away from those who were familiar with his previous life and toward those who could open their minds and hearts to see Bob's vision. And with that, Bob opened the door to walk with those who are among the most broken and traumatized and marginalized. His mission is to restore all that has been taken from them. Walter Brueggemann said, "Justice is finding out what belongs to whom and returning it to them to set things straight." That is exactly what Bob is doing with Bob's House of Hope and Ranch Hands Rescue. Bob says he's still a work in progress, learning more about himself every day and changing as he develops a larger understanding of what justice, equity, and compassion mean in human relationality. We have the capacity for so much good in this world, the capacity to make real and positive change, but we can't do that effectively if we do not understand the experiences of others. One justice-minded urban minister has used the well-known fishing metaphor to outline this theme. You can give someone a fish, the work of charity and compassion. You can teach someone how to fish, the work of education and empowerment. But then there's the practice of justice, where you must also concern yourself with the fishing conditions. We have to leave our old self behind and step through that door, meeting people where they are to see what their fishing conditions are. A state senator from Minnesota, prior to a vote on a bill that would expand free school lunches to all students, stated, "I have yet to meet a person in Minnesota that is hungry." Later, he added, "I had a granola bar for breakfast. I guess I'm hungry." And he laughed. Talk about someone who needs to move from the mirror and get escorted through an open door. Sorry, there's a gnat up here visiting me. It really likes me. Okay, got it. So my cousin recently emailed a clip from a spinoff of the Golden Girls, and I didn't even know there had been a spinoff from that. In this episode of Golden Palace, Don Cheadle, who plays the hotel manager, is trying to explain to Blanche why it's inappropriate and harmful and hurtful to drape a Confederate flag across the front desk as she welcomes friends who, like her, worship the flag as a representation of their Southern heritage. She refuses to see that his reality of the flag is so different from hers. It's only after another woman makes a racist remark about Cheadle that she begins to understand what he's saying. You can see the shame and confusion on her face as she pours out all of her long-held and conditioned beliefs about the flag. Blanche has been living in a romanticized version of a white Southern pride that is only a mask to cover racism and white supremacy. Cheadle moves her beyond the mirror. It's almost heartbreaking to watch her come to the realization that she can no longer claim pride in her old identity. She asks him, "What am I supposed to do when everything I grew up believing is tarnished by the truth?" I know I've had to look back and say, I used to believe this, and now I believe this. I think we all have. You know, Blanche learned that she could not keep looking in that mirror because that was no longer who she was. Just like Bob Williams, she opened the door and walked into a world where she could see what justice and equity means to those different from herself. Bob was set free to find his calling. a place where love and human relationality meet, where justice and equity kiss each other. Bob went out into the world and came back a changed man. He didn't have to. He could have stayed right where he was, making money and playing golf with friends, because it is so much easier to not require self-examination. But he allowed himself to grow and develop a larger understanding of what justice, equity, and compassion means for the humans and animals in his care. I want to be like that. I want to shed the old me. I want to steer myself away from the mirror, pausing to glance out the open window at all there is to experience. I want there to always be an open door to run through. And a world where I learn who I am simply by learning about the world around me. I want to be the open arms where you and you and you can find justice, equity, and compassion, no matter who you are. Now, I'm kind of an NPR nerd. So, NPR poet in residence, Kwame Alexander, recently challenged listeners, to write a poem about napping or anything related to sleeping, dreaming, or relaxing. He received more than 1,200 poems and wove them into one community crowdsourced poem called A Blanket of Words. I'm going to end with just a few stanzas from this incredible work. If I could, I would like to pull the pinpoint stars down from the sky. I'd weave soft moonbeams through them to climb the stairs my imagination made. I would like to be a bird, unburdened. I would like to be me, unbound. I just want to nap and wonder and wander and dream of letting go, ego dissolving like honey in tea. Dreams where we can be everything we've ever wanted to be. I would like to be asleep in my bed, unable to access the dread in my head. In my dreams, food, money, and life lack relevance. And I would play with magic monkeys. I would like to live in a world where we dream when we fall asleep and do not face a nightmare when we wake. I would like to rest my shoulders from their stand at attention, my brain from constant narrating. I would like to, but I can't right now. Too much to do, not the right time. I have work to do, places to be, but what if I just flee and sleep endlessly? Oh, I would like to see you try. A moment of nothing, ceaseless wonder, boundless floors, infinite possibilities, and 1,000 more. I would like to find you in my dream, to hear your voice again, whistling wisdom and wit, stories and songs, scents of freedom, molecules of unconditional love. I would like to meet you in the space between asleep and awake, where we belong to both worlds and yet owe nothing to either place. I would like to feel again the familiar sensation of my hand in yours as we walked in strange and scary places while my heart beats loudly. I would like to listen more closely than the arrogant child I was. I would like to lay on the clouds and not fall through. I would like to surrender. I would like to rest in peace. I would like to rest my heart from the daily stabs of an unkind world. I would like to forget the faces of whose judgments crowd my mind. I would like to be your pillow, the firmness to support you, the softness to embrace you. I would like to awaken and find its spring. I would like to be remembered as a fearless dreamer. I would like to shut my eyes and open my heart to nap, wrapped in silence. I would like to lay down in my bed and wake up better. Rise, ready to battle the challenges every day brings, and then I would like to have another cup of coffee, greet the bird songs, the willow trees, the warmth of the sun. I would like to meet the brand new day embraced in love, refreshed, anew, ready to change the world. But first I will dream. I will dream of the world I change, and then I will change it. And thanks be to God for that. Will you join us in our closing hymn, number 1027, When the Poor Ones.
We leave this gathered community, but we don't leave our connection, our concerns, our care for each other. Our service to each other, to the world, and to our faith continues. Until we are together again, friends, be strong, be well, be true, be loving.
May God bless us with anger at injustice, oppression, and exploitation of God's creations, so that we may work for justice, freedom, and peace. May God bless us with tears to shed for those who suffer pain, rejection, and hunger, so that we may reach out our hands to comfort them, to turn their pain into joy. The service is now ended. We would like to invite you to stay afterwards for coffee and conversation.